Hello, my audience. This is Paul. I hope you'll forgive me for I don't know if it's gonna show us looking big. One person's big, one person's small. One of us has a phone, one of us has a computer. Either way, we have a very special guest with us today. I would like you to welcome my friend Rachel. I have known her for way more years than I care to admit. And we actually were in the same youth group when we went on my first mission trip. I believe it was your second, right? Because we're talking about the Rockford, Illinois one.
That was, it may have been my fourth.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, before we get into talking about mission trip, would you care to introduce yourself to the audience if you have like any socials you want to bring up or like work related things, little bit about yourself, just whatever you feel like sharing, you can go ahead and tell that to the audience.
Sure. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be on your YouTube channel, Paul.
Oh, my pleasure.
I'm so happy to be here. As Paul said, we've known each other for a very long time. We were in youth group together. We've been on several mission trips together, made a lot of great memories. Um, A little bit about me. I have three kids. I work in the medical field. I love to do things outside like camping and hiking. And I love to knit and crochet.
Very, very
That's just
nice.
a few fun facts about me.
Very, very nice. And I've actually met your husband before, and he
Hmm.
is a really, really great guy.
Yeah.
I may even have him as a guest on this channel too, because he went with me on my most recent mission trip, which this is what this t-shirt was from. I
Hmm.
think he has a t-shirt like this too somewhere.
I'm sure he does. Yeah.
Yeah, so
He actually bought me this sweatshirt. So this is a Catholic Heart sweatshirt of one of the mission trips that he went on that I wasn't at. So he brought a sweatshirt home for me.
very, very nice. That's
Yeah.
great. So I'm glad we both dressed for the occasion.
Yes.
Very, very nice. So, for those of you that don't know in my audience, she was actually responsible for convincing me to go on this mission trip because I almost canceled the day before. I was supposed to go on the mission trip the previous year, but I canceled, I think it was like a week before. And the leader was just like, yeah, you're going to lose all that money, Paul. And I said, I don't care, I'm not going. So I guess like knowing that I canceled before, did that like strengthen your resolve to try harder to convince me this time? And then how did it feel once I agreed to go?
Honestly, I'm not really sure that I knew that you had canceled before. I don't know if I don't know if I knew and now just as an adult I forgot or I don't know if that impacted me as much, but just in general, have always felt like these sort of mission trips or service projects is a good thing for anyone to go on. For you or really any teen, any adult, any kid, it's really life impacting. So I just knew that you would benefit from it, but like not only you, everyone. So I think it was just knowing like how good of an experience I think that you would have is really what kind of pushed me to want you to go. And I don't remember what I said or what exactly I did. I know you always give me a lot of credit of like, she convinced me to go. And I'm like, I don't know what I did. If I said like, no, you should do it, I don't even remember, but I feel honored that you give me that credit.
Well, I don't think it was only you. I think our mutual friend John also helped. But I'm
Yes.
pretty sure
Yeah.
it was mostly you because we had that super long talk after one of our fundraisers where like
Hmm.
you and I were the only ones in the kitchen and you were just like trying your best to talk about things that you thought would appeal to me and it
Hmm.
worked.
Well, again, I feel like that's a huge honor.
Yeah, I'm also really thankful that we spent so much time together on that trip. I think you and I spent more time together than anyone else in the youth group, which we'll
Yeah.
get to in a minute. But
Hmm.
for starters, as far as I'm aware, this was the first and only time that our group went to this particular camp because our leader liked to switch it
Yeah.
up quite a lot. So, how did you feel about the grounds and the retreat center and the weather?
Some of my years run together because I had done so many of them. So I'm trying to remember specifically because there multiple buildings?
There was the building that most of the girls stayed at, and then it
Mhm.
doubled as also the cafeteria.
Yes.
And then
Okay.
there was this lodge that all the adult chaperones would go to for the meetings. And then finally, there was the Bishop Lane Retreat Center, which was like the main building where we had the events. And then the guys and some of the girls would sleep in the dorm rooms in that main building.
Yeah.
So, do you remember, does that give you a
It
bigger.
does. I was trying to remember. That's what I thought, but I was trying to remember. I wasn't getting it confused with another camp. I've been to so many and they're all very different. Like sometimes you're all in one building, sometimes there's multiple buildings. Um so I think there's sometimes some challenges when there's multiple buildings with things being spread out, but also it's kind of nice. You have that freedom to roam. I remember the grounds, there was lots of green area. People had space to go outside because I have been to some camps before where it was just like a school and then like a cement parking lot and people would go outside and you're just like in the parking lot. Like I remember it being like a lot of green and very pretty and having that peace to be able to like go outside and that freedom to run around, and I mean for teenagers that's important.
Oh yeah, no, there were a lot of teenagers that were, I think, playing either soccer or volleyball. Then there was this really
Yeah.
slanted tree that I literally just walked up. I didn't even have to climb. And then there was like a river with a bridge going over it. There was even a hiking trail, which I found out after I hiked on it.
Oh.
We weren't supposed to hike there.
Oops.
But yeah, no, green is like the big color that comes into my mind when I think about that
Yeah.
place. And
Yes.
when we ate lunch, I actually was very impressed by like the green leaves on the tree outside the window. There was also a
Yeah.
statue of the Blessed Mother that we played a game of rock, paper, scissors in front of when the staff members first came and took a video of us. Do,
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
do you remember if you won or lost against your partner? Because
I
it was
don't
like all of us in the
remember.
youth group that just did like a miniature tournament.
Mhm. I don't remember. You have a much better memory than I do.
I think I remember either coming, I think I remember either winning or tying with my partner, which was
Mhm.
Valentina, by the way.
Oh.
And I also
Mine was
remember,
probably John, I'm assuming.
yeah, probably, and I remember going like this in the video.
Mhm.
So, what did you think of our group as a whole? Like, do you feel like we got along? Do you feel like it was a good dynamic?
Yeah, I think it was. I feel like I've never been on a mission trip where I felt like it was bad dynamics, but I have definitely been on some where you could tell there was like certain groups of friends, and not that there was people who didn't get along, but people tend to gravitate toward their group, and I think as I got older I worked really hard to make sure, like, even though there were tight friend groups within our group, that we also all could be together as a group. And like I said, people will gravitate to the ones that they form really close bonds with, and I think that's really special and that's important on these trips and just in life in general, but also to make sure that everyone feels included and know that everyone is included in the overall group. So I tried, as I was a little bit older, because I went, my first couple mission trips I was on the younger side, and after I had gone on a few I was on the older side and a little bit more experienced in it. So I wanted to kind of take that on a little bit and just kind of make sure that we all got along as a group. And I think we really did.
I think so too, as evidenced by the fact that the very next mission trip, every single person in our group came back except for you and one girl.
Yeah.
But I think you said you had a really good reason for not going. But then the year after that, you came back. So you
Yes.
made up for it.
Mine was like a school thing because
Yeah.
yeah.
But hey, at least we got to go on two together. You said
Exactly.
many, many. I think it probably felt like many because you also did a couple without me. But
Yes.
you and I went on two, but we're going to focus on the first one that I went on just for the sake
Mhm.
of time because
Yeah.
goodness knows be here all day if we did both of them. So, speaking of groups, One really cool thing about this particular mission trip, and neither of us coordinated this, it
Hmm.
just happened to be this way. We were also in the same work group.
Yes, which that doesn't happen often. They purposefully try to split you up from your youth group so that you have the experience of meeting new people, making new friendships. And I think that that was the first time. So that was my fourth mission trip, but that was the first time that I ever had someone from my youth group also in my work group.
Yeah, I remember being super happy about that because
Yeah.
going into that mission trip, I was pretty nervous about like talking to new people. So as soon as I saw you say, "Paul, we're in the same group,"
Mhm.
and then I think you like gave me a double high five. Pretty sure you were even wearing a pink t-shirt at that time too.
Sounds about right.
No, I surprisingly one thing that's not so great in my memory is what we did for like icebreakers and group activities. Because I remember in subsequent mission trips, there were things like the trust fall and that like band where like you bounce off of one side and then the next person bounces to the other and then like coordinated lifting of the feet with ski lifts. But for this one, for some reason, I remember either the camp didn't have it or we just spent too long getting to know each other. So, do you remember if we did any kind of team building activities?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe Catholic Heart introduced it the following year.
Yeah, I don't like have any specific memories of that
Well, do you at least
for that
remember
year.
who was in our group besides you and me?
Um, Julie,
Yup.
right? Julie
Yup.
was in our group.
Yup.
I don't remember names, but I remember faces. And sometimes some places I think there was someone I think from Texas,
Yup.
and I know there was at least two other girls.
There were two other girls and two other guys, and their names were Ryan, Jay, and then the two Emilys.
I don't know how you remember all of that, Paul. Your memory just astounds me. But
Thank
yes,
you.
like as soon as you say that, I'm like, yes, Ryan was from Texas. I remember that.
Yep.
And he liked meteorology.
Yep. And then Emily's married now. I don't know what happened to the other Emily. Jay and I didn't actually keep in touch all that much, but we did play Guitar Hero one time, so it's
Oh,
like at least we
cool.
kept in touch a little bit.
Hey, you know what? And sometimes you keep in touch with people and sometimes you don't, but you can still, carry on the lessons that you learned or the memories that you made with
For
them.
sure, for sure. Do you remember like our group chemistry and do you feel like we got along really well?
I think so. It's always like the first couple interactions or maybe the first day, sometimes like a little awkward because you're just kind of thrown into this with strangers essentially. And then after some time, you get to know each other and you get to know each other fairly quickly. Um and we worked it was like half and half. Like we did part-time at a daycare center and then
Yeah.
we did some part-time with doing some like home improvement projects. And I think that working with the kids really made all of us come out of our shells and helped us form bonds with the kids but then also with each other because we were playing with kids and we all got to see that playful side of each other and I think that that helped us grow all as a group.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. I remember the kids loved us so much that the teachers
We
actually had
did.
to tell them off for being too wild.
Yeah.
But so what you were referring to with half and half was the very first work day. Unfortunately, that was the one where you said it was a panic attack, but at the time I thought that it was heat exhaustion. I didn't end up getting to the work project until halfway through the day, but
Hmm.
we started out by doing stuff like I was polishing some furniture. I think Ryan was like trimming the leaves on a tree,
Hmm.
and then we ended up edging a garden path because I think we went to like two residents' house that day.
Yeah.
And I remember you just completely lost it when there was an indoor porch on one of our residents' houses. And I loved the couch in there. And I said, I don't believe in love at first sight, but I do believe in love at first sit.
Yes.
But then the rest of the days that we worked, We did half of the day at Maya's house, which was the name of the daycare center that we worked at.
Hmm.
And then the rest of the day we were painting and priming a gym wall.
Yes,
So,
yes.
what are some of your favorite memories of both of those happenings?
Um, I would say being around the kids, I know I kind of touched on this, but that was special because it was just having fun with kids. And I remember like you and Ryan played the guitar for them and they loved that. We played dress up with them, like like clothes over our clothes. And I think I dressed up like a princess or,
Oh,
just
nice.
it was fun to have those silly moments with them, and then we all got to see that side of each other, which was just fun. And then painting is nice because it's, especially when you're just painting a gym wall, it's sort of a mindless task. You're just going up and down with that paint roller, and it gives you that quietness, and instead of the like rowdy playing with kids, the moment of quiet where you can just talk to the person that's painting next to you and learn more about their daily life, where they live, what they like to do, and you get to know people.
Well, we actually did have another work group that helped us out because we were doing Maya's house.
Hmm.
So, a couple of times it wasn't just our group, it was like
Hmm.
other people. So, do you feel like once the other people helped us with priming, did you like get to know new people besides our work group?
I don't remember like the other people. I'm sure that, I probably had like interactions and conversations with them. It's harder because you're not with them as much. And when you start with a group from the beginning, go through all week, you get a close bond, and then people get kind of thrown in at some point, and it's harder to make that bond only because you already know your own people. But it's still enjoyable to see like a fresh face and do a project with, someone new.
Well, hey, at the very least we got all the walls done.
Yeah.
I just remember I was a nervous wreck when we were painting and priming because I was mainly just doing what everyone else was doing because I had like next to no experience with that. And then when everyone else was like playing volleyball in the gym, I kind of just sat in the bleachers by myself. But I do remember I eventually got over that, and I think you remember that too. So before we get into that aspect of it, let's talk about what we did after we were done working out. Or working. It felt like a workout.
Painting and priming is a workout.
Oh, I almost forgot to mention. So we were each given different roles on our team so that everyone could feel special. And then
Yes.
that also like translated into like one of us would speak on the stage, one of us would do prayer intentions at mass, one
Mhm.
person would like lead the lunchtime discussion. So do you remember what position you were on the team?
Was I team captain? Maybe
That
it wasn't captain. I forget. It may have been like team leader or something.
that sounds about right, I think. I
I
remember
think so.
I think I was prayer share leader because
Yes,
I do remember giving one of the special intentions at mass.
I remember that. And I think the captain kind of just like helps support. I think this is what I did because I did this multiple times, is that I kind of helped support everybody else and made sure, like, okay, does the lunch person need help picking up our lunches, or is this going smoothly, or whatever?
Yeah, I think things did go smoothly at lunch. Did you like the food that they gave us, or
I mean, I always love an Uncrustable
you did learn to love
to
them
this
after a
day.
while? And then the Gatorade that they gave us
Yeah.
was like their excuse was that they wanted us to refill our electrolytes.
Hmm.
But I think in actuality they're like teenagers need energy.
I think, yeah, probably both are true.
Yeah. So once we got back, obviously we had like lots of free time where we could like
Mhm.
shower, take a nap, play outside, play indoors. Like some people brought sets of cards, some people did like group activities. So do you remember some of the stuff that you did between the programs and the mass and the working?
I'm sure I probably did a lot of talking because I like to yap. Um, I know I probably spent a fair amount of time with John. He and I got very close over a couple mission trips. I don't know if I played like many games or like ran around a lot outside, but I know I did shower every day. And yeah, probably just like talking and visiting with people.
That's cool.
Hmm.
It was definitely very hot on that trip, so I wouldn't be surprised if you were just like, I want to stay in the air conditioning.
Yeah, and just kind of cool off because that's also like your downtime. That's kind of the only time to relax because really you're busy. You like wake up, have breakfast, and go to mass, and then go do your service work. Like it's like go go go, and then you come back and you have your window of free time. But then the evening is dinner program, and then a lot of times we'd meet as a group and then bed. There wasn't like that was your downtime. So like you said, if you need to relax, cool off, or whatever, that was the time to do it, and I'm sure I took advantage of that.
Yeah, I remember um, it was really hard to wake up in the mornings because
Yes.
there was a kid who played a trumpet every single morning except for Friday. And he
We wanted to
played
make sure
like
we were up.
he played like that. I don't remember what it's called, but it was like the Victory March or something like that. Like that a super celebratory
Yes,
tone.
yes.
I heard secondhand that she shouted something along the lines of, "That kid ought to be shot!"
Yeah, I think none of us were super excited to wake up in the morning. We didn't love hearing that trumpet, but it's a good memory looking back.
It was effective, whatever it was. And
Yes,
then the
yes.
final day, the trumpet was stolen, and the priest mentioned that at the mass, and everyone started cheering.
That did have a big impact on the camp, I guess. Everyone had feelings one way or another.
And even the adults were cheering.
Yeah.
And then the priest said in this super deadpan voice, "Let us not forget that it was a trumpet that brought down the walls of Jericho."
Yeah, he really tied the Bible into that.
He sure did. So, what did you think of the programs that were on the stage? And you can include Mass in this as well. So, like, you probably have a way better memory than the last person I interrogated because she literally didn't remember a single thing that happened on the stage.
So I don't know how much I'll remember of that specific camp, but I would say just overall from Catholic Heart, their programs are amazing. Um, there are some camps, the camps that I have gone to, that do mass every day. Some camps don't do mass every morning. They just
We
have
did.
prayer and worship. We did. And the masses are great. The homilies are relatable. The priests make like cater it to teenagers, so it's said in ways that teenagers can understand, and of course it's people who are excited to be there, so everyone's participating, and you see people around you who are participating and being really involved in mass, and you get excited about like I want to be a part of this. And then of course the evening programs, some nights are emotional and some nights are just fun, but I think overall what sticks out to me again is you seeing everybody participate in praise and worship, in prayer, in dancing, or in whatever activity. They make it fun, they make it entertaining. When it is a night that's more emotional, you really can tap into your emotions and in your faith, and again they make you want to participate in that. So it's very engaging and very, very excellent
Oh,
programming.
yeah. I heard that Catholic Heart actually said sometimes the adults had more fun than the kids because they did a really
That's
good
true.
job of making sure that everyone in the audience felt included.
That's true.
So, what did you think of the musicians that we had? Because it was Popple that came
Popple,
that year, and I think you said that like the previous mission trip you went on, they were the musicians. So what did you think
Popple
of
is
them?
they're great. I don't know if you might know more than me. I don't know if they're still making music or not. Um, but they were great. Their songs were catchy, and on their like actual albums or CDs, they had some songs that were just like silly. Most of them, or a lot of them were faith related, but there were some that weren't, that were just like fun and silly, like appropriate songs. They like to do like interactive songs, especially in the mornings to get people up and moving. They of course sounded great. Yeah, I think they're great artists.
Yeah, no, I had a chance to see Popple again, actually quite a few times. I saw
Hmm.
them a couple of times at NCYC, got to meet up with Dan again and get a picture with him. He helped out at another conference that I helped out with, and I even got to see more concerts that they did at NCYC.
Hmm.
I think I got to see two Popple concerts there.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, and by they're a two-man band, and I think they even had like a nickname for themselves. It was like Catholic Bearded Hip Hop Guitar Kazoo Enthusiasts or something like that.
Something silly. Like they were very silly, but in a great way.
They even said we've invented a new genre called guitar hip hop. And
Hmm.
if you look
Oh,
on Catholic Heart's website, they still have a video of them doing guitar hip hop.
oh my gosh, that's funny. And you know what's hilarious is when Julie told me she hated kazoos. Was that the year that we brought kazoos for everyone?
Yeah, we did. And
That was because Julie told me how much she hated kazoos.
and
And
the
I said, "Oh, you shouldn't have said that." So, a little prank.
and
I
then
made
the
sure everyone had a kazoo.
and then the other adult leader, when we went to Denny's after we were done with the mission trip, he played the kazoo out the window to the person parked next to us.
Hmm.
And then we like blasted his music on the way back, and we had like the contra code memorized by then, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, I later found out that the contra code that they sang about wasn't actually the contra code, so they got it wrong.
Well,
Guess they had to
it's a good
make it
song though.
rhythmic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one special thing that we did on the stage this particular year was our group was actually picked to do a skit.
Hmm.
Um, I don't remember what the name of the skit was called, but I do remember it was meant to be all about like how words can really hurt you, but then like encouraging words can help undo a fatal mistake.
Hmm.
So like there was a girl that was like obviously it was staged, wasn't real, but there was a girl that was like attempting suicide and we all like ran over to her and gave her a hug. And I remember joining that project very late because I didn't join, how do I word this? It took you such a long time to convince me to come on this mission trip that I only had one chance to practice the skit, and it was like I think like an hour before we did it. So hopefully I did all right, all things considered.
I'm sure it was fine. I don't think we rehearsed too much. They made the skits, I think, simple enough. As long as you're getting the message across, that's really what matters.
Well, do you remember what some of the stuff that you did in that skit were?
I think one of the things was like there was like multiple things where someone was either like in trouble or like having some sort of difficulty and then like seeing how other people can get them out of that. So yes, I think there was one where someone was either harming themselves or feeling very depressed. I think there was one where like someone was at like a party and maybe making some bad decisions and then had, could be surrounded by people who were making better decisions. And I think there was one more little like part, I can't remember what the situation was, but similar to where someone needed some help in how you can step in and be that help for someone else.
Yeah, no, I do remember that was a lot of fun to do, especially like some of the bloopers that I did. Like, I remember there was a bit where we were like pretending to smoke on cigarettes. They were actually made out of candy. And one of the girls in our group, Katie, was supposed to like knock them out of our hands. But I accidentally dropped mine before she could get to me, and so it cracked on the stage and
Hmm.
everything. And then I also remember like when they were asking us to like whisper nasty things to everyone else, they said like it helps if you just repeat one word over and over again. So they said if you guys just want to say watermelon over and over again, and I said that's not creative enough. So what I ended up saying was Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive were
Oh my
proud to say
gosh.
that they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much. And I just kept saying that over and over again instead of watermelon.
That's a good thing to say over and over again.
So what did you think of the major programs that we did at this camp? And what I mean by major programs is that every single night they had something special during the Catholic section. So like Monday was staff test, you know this because you've been to more camps than
Hmm.
me. Staff testimony night, Eucharistic adoration, dance party, four corners, another dance party, and resident testimony night. What were some of your favorite moments from those activities?
Let's see. I mean, they're all so great, honestly. Like, I always loved hearing the staff testimony, like, because you're hearing it from someone who's older, but staff isn't necessarily that much older. They're like in their early 20s. So, but still, like as a teenager or young adult, you're hearing it from someone who has some influence. And I remember thinking like, gosh, I want to be on staff. Like that is like they're so cool. I want to do that. But it was always really nice hearing those testimonies from them. Um Dance party on Taco Tuesday, of course, is always fun. Like again, that's just a night that is just fun, and it's like silly fun, something that everybody can participate in. Or maybe if you're not a dancer, not into it, you can kick back and watch and enjoy everyone being silly. And yeah, like everyone gets hyped up for Taco Tuesday and dance party. So like that's always great. Um, Four Corners, of course, I would say is like the most emotional night there. um that's really when you are tapping into your faith. You can go to reconciliation, you can sit and pray with a staff member or an adult. You're really taking that time to reflect on your own faith and how you want to grow. um yeah, that one, it's a little more sombering. I mean, clearly not like the fun hyped up night, but that's the night that you're gonna grow, really. And then I always love um, the night where the residents can come in, all the people that we've done work for, and they give testimonies of to be able to hear, because you think it's just a bunch of teenagers like doing some work. Um, but you hear the impact that they have, and then you learn like, okay, we can do really amazing things that have an impact on the world.
Well, I don't think our residents were able to come for this particular year. But do you at
Yeah.
least remember liking, well, I guess the years kind of blend together for you, but you just like in general, you just liked that particular day.
Yes, yeah. And I've had camps where I've had residents come, and then I've had years where they can't, either because of their schedule or whatever, and that's okay. It's not like they're obligated to come, but it's even nice hearing from other people. You may not have done the work for them, but you get to hear what an impact Catholic Heart had on them, and it's really, really powerful.
Yeah, I don't remember this particular year because again, our resident didn't come. But what I do remember is the nights that our residents, or at subsequent camps when our residents did thank us, like some of them were crying tears of joy.
Yeah,
So it was nice to know that like Catholic Heart was for them as well.
yeah.
So one thing that I think you and I will both agree was one of the highlights of this camp was the spiritual transformation that I went through. And
Mhm.
like you in particular had seen me at like my lowest time of my life at that point. And I'm pretty sure like at one point I got you to cry tears of joy, maybe even multiple points.
I'm sure I did.
So a couple like obviously if you can remember more things than me, like please interject, but like a few highlights I remember were like Monday night you were really concerned about me because like, I had that panic attack. It was right during the announcements after mass
Yes.
too. And then once we got back, I just sat at a table by myself and then you came and sat by me. And I'm pretty sure like you couldn't even think of the words. You just wanted to just be there for me. So I think if I remember correctly, when we talked later, you said like, yeah, at that point I was really worried that something was going on. And then I think it was like the very next day. I had that talk with Monica and Reba, which again, my audience knows about them. And then after that, all of a sudden, like I was, talking to more people and I was saying things like, "Man, look at just how gorgeous God made everyone." Because remember back then, I didn't really ever say people were gorgeous.
Hmm.
And then a girl named Maggie got up on the stage and she said she saw God when she talked to me. And I remember
Yeah.
every single girl in my group just collectively said, "What?" And then you were, I think, either one or two seats away from me. And then you were like, "Paul, did you hear that? She said she saw God and you never thought you would see the day." Like, what was going through your head during those moments?
Um, I'll say, yeah, I was worried in the beginning because here I am like telling you you should come, and I always tell everybody like how great the mission trip is, and you should all go. It's so amazing. And then the last thing I would want is for someone to go and have a terrible time. So I was worried that like it was either gonna be like too much or just like too overwhelming. But to see how much you grew from that first Monday morning of like couldn't even make it out to the work site until by the end of the week every single person knew your name. Like everybody was on a
Yeah,
first name basis. Everybody knew Paul. Like, and I think it just shows like your really gentle personality came through, and everybody could see that, like that you were just such a light that you touched everybody. So to go from like not even being able to go to the work site to like being the coolest person there and everybody knew you, it's amazing.
it was a little bit unnerving at times because I don't think I wanted to be like, how do I word this? I didn't want to be like a celebrity. I just wanted to be like liked enough that I would make a difference in people's lives. Like if I would take a shower and someone wanted to give me a hug, then I'd be like, "Okay, okay.
It's too much.
Need a little bit of space there." But I did really appreciate how kind everyone was to me after that spiritual transformation, which I remember was on Taco Tuesday that it started happening.
Yeah.
But like that talk on the stage, was that like the first time that you noticed the transformation or was it more of a gradual process?
For your transition, it to me seemed kind of gradual throughout the week, because I know like the beginning seemed a little, maybe, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth or say how you felt, but you, from my perspective, it seemed like maybe you were either apprehensive, or I don't want to say holding back, but maybe just unsure, not about your faith, but maybe about the whole situation, just like being there. Like, or maybe, I don't know if we were worried, like maybe he's not having a good time. I don't know. But I think it is a lot to go into. To like by the time it was Four Corners, like seeing your praise and worship, and just I think I have like a memory of my head of you just like singing, and you had like your arms raised up, and I'm just like, oh my
I
gosh,
didn't know
like
you were watching
well,
me during Four
I
Corners.
like, I mean, I wasn't just like watching you, but like, you kind of look around and take it in, and like I'm like, Paul's just like flying. Like you went from like someone who was looked so scared to someone who was just like on top of the world.
Well, Four Corners was one of the best moments of my life.
Yeah.
I just remember after it happened, I just said like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a better person now."
Yeah.
And
Four Corners is very powerful.
oh yeah, I think I was even late to group discussions because of it.
Mhm.
I think it was either because my reconciliation went too long or the group went too long or both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember at one point it was either this camp or the next that you wanted us to do a hug a day marathon. Now, I don't know if we actually succeeded at that or not, but considering that we were running the same work team, I'm pretty sure we at least accomplished a little bit of that.
I'm sure we did.
So now that I've talked about my overall takeaway and your perspective on like seeing that amazing transformation, what was your overall takeaway from that camp?
So it was a great camp. I think it was a good experience for me because my first couple camps, I really had like some of my like real close besties. Um, you're familiar with my friend
Oh,
Hannah.
yeah.
Um, for your viewers who aren't, Hannah and I have been friends for a very long time. She's the one that convinced me to go on the mission
Oh,
trip.
nice.
I also had a couple mission trips with my cousin Marie and like some other cousins. So like I had like for the first few mission trips that I went on, had like a real close like lifelong friend. So although obviously I had friends on this mission trip too, but it's different I think especially for young girls when you don't have like your bestie there, so to go and think like I'm kind of going in this a little bit more also for me to be able to grow and do something for my faith and not only as like a social thing because I'm going on a trip with my friends. Although like I mean we're friends and I had you there and I'm obviously I was very close with John and I had John there. But it was different. So I think for me there was a little bit more like growth and maturity there because maybe my first couple trips it was like, oh, it's going to be fun. All my best friends will be there. Where this was like me going because I wanted to go and I wanted to be there.
Yeah, that's great that you were able to still have a good time despite so many
Yeah.
people missing.
Yeah.
So after we were done with the camp, that was when we had our free day. And we did medieval times was one of the big things
Hmm.
we did. And then we also like went shopping in the Chicago district.
Yeah.
So what were some of the highlights of the free day for you?
Well, I cruised around and I shopped and I got some things, so that was kind of fun. Medieval times is a great time though. I've been a couple times to different medieval times. Um, and that's a fun experience too. You're like eating like basically without utensils and you're like just drinking your soup out of a bowl and you're eating your chicken with your hands and you get to watch a cool show. That was fun.
Do you remember the fact that all the girls were fawning after the black and white night?
Yeah, they were. Like they really were.
You say they, does that mean you weren't?
I probably was too.
Speaking of all the girls, one thing I vividly remember that literally every single girl in the group did was we went to Denny's at one point on our free day. And I decided that I was gonna get, I think it was called Hush Puppies, where they were like these little brown sugar bits that I would like dip in the sauce.
Hmm.
And I think it was either you or one of the other girls that looked over and just said, "Dang, that looks good." And then literally every girl in our group decided to get what I got just because they thought it looked good.
See, you had an influence on everybody.
I guess I did. And then the guys were like having an eating contest. So I wonder why, like, I don't feel like our group was all that segregated, but why at that
I
one point did it just seem like the guys and the girls were on completely different wavelengths?
I think to an extent, all teenagers, guys and girls, are sometimes on a different wavelength. So there's times where we are, but I think our group overall did do a great job of like all being together. I think we all got along really well as a group.
I think so too, 'cause I think there were only 3 people in our group that I didn't know ahead of time, but by the end of the trip, we were like best of friends.
Hmm.
Was there anyone that you didn't know on this trip in our group?
I'm trying to think. I probably knew everybody. I'm trying to remember who all was there.
So
So
there
obviously me,
was there
you,
was
John,
me,
Valentina.
yep, Joanna,
Yeah.
Lexi,
Yeah.
Cece, which she was the one person that never came back. There was Katie,
Hmm.
and why am I forgetting? There was someone I had in mind. Oh, Michael and Kyle.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, there were only it was Cece, Kyle, and Michael were the only ones that I didn't know.
Cece was the only one that I didn't know. Um, and I don't like get too invested when people are like only went once. I mean, maybe she had a good time, maybe she didn't, who knows. But sometimes people can't go because of like work or school or whatever. So I don't know why, she didn't go back, but hopefully she gained something during the week that stuck with her. But yeah, she was the only one that I didn't know before going on the trip.
Well, that's good that we knew each other fairly well.
Mhm.
So the last thing I want to ask, and then I'll just, if you have random, oh, actually, before that, I completely forgot to ask in my notes, were there any like really funny moments in this camp that just really made this one stand out where you're just like, oh my gosh, I love retelling that story?
Oh my gosh.
Besides the trumpet, because you already mentioned that.
Probably just the trumpet is what sticks out. Um I don't know honestly that I have like a funny moment that sticks out, but I just remember like your growth on this trip. That's what sticks out to me more than anything else.
Really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mhm.
So, what would you say to someone who is, and this could be to either an adult or a teenager, someone who is reluctant to either chaperone or attend Catholic Heart Work Camp, or if someone is reluctant to be a staff member, what would you say as like words of encouragement to address those people?
I would tell them that if they even have like a little thought of like maybe I should do this, then to do it because it truly was life-changing. Um I think I went to camp 6 times as a camper and then did my summer as staff. And I really well, I know my life wouldn't be the same if I had never gone to Catholic Heart, but I just think it had such an impact on me and the way I am as a person today. Um, in just how I treat people and how I've grown in my faith and it can change your life. It can really change your life. So for someone who's like on the fence or has thought about it of like, oh, that would be cool, or like maybe I should do that, like just do it. My dad also was a chaperone for several years. And I think he got a little nervous. He kind of was like you before his first camp, and like the it must have been like the week before we had like our last group meeting, and there was a lot of girls on that particular trip. And so of course when there's a lot of teenage girls, there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of noise. And I have 3 older brothers, so like obviously my dad had one daughter but not multiple girls in one home, so he's around all these teenage girls and they're just talking and talking and loud, and it was a lot. And he got home and he told my mom, like, I don't think I can do this. And she was like, too bad. You got to go. And he went and he had such an amazing time that he said, I will do this every single year that Julie goes until I am physically unable to go.
And he did
So,
end up going every single year that
yeah,
that she did it.
yeah, he did. Even when I wasn't there anymore, he still was a chaperone. He's like
Yeah,
like if I'm able to fit it into my schedule and I'm physically able to do it, I will go because he enjoyed it that much. And I think that that speaks volume that like he was an adult chaperone and he was like that was amazing. That he felt so moved to be like, I'm going to keep doing this even when my daughter's not there anymore. I will still chaperone this trip because I want to go.
that's great. And what
Yes.
about like, so you actually were on staff a couple of
Mhm.
years and you met your husband through being a staff member.
Yeah, I
So
did.
would you say that that's like one of the biggest reasons to potentially go, or like do you have any other reasons of like, hey, this is why I think maybe you should consider being a staff member?
Yeah. You know what? It just worked out for me. I wouldn't say to people like go because you might meet your future spouse because that's obviously not the case in the majority of people. However, on the staff team that I was on, Josh and I met, and then there was another couple that met that was also on our team that they got married too.
Dang.
So that just, you know what? God put us all in the right place. That's for sure. But I would say for the majority of people, that's not the experience. And obviously, you shouldn't go and be a staff member somewhere just because you're like, well, I might meet my husband or my wife there. You should go because that's what you want to do. And even if I had not met Josh, being on staff, it still was an amazing experience. And I made like really, really close bonds with people. And even though I don't talk to them every day, we still have those memories. We'll catch up over the phone every once in a while, or I, keep up with them on social media. And also to be able to like, it was a cool way to travel the country a little bit. So got to see some sights and experience it with some fun people, and then you get like the other view of things. So instead of being the camper site and going out to all the work sites, you're getting everything ready for them. You're setting up the programs and running the programs for them. You're setting up the meals for them. You're basically doing all of their prep work. So although I wasn't directly doing the volunteer work, I'm helping it to be possible for other people. So like indirectly helping others. And then you get to see these kids grow over the week of like being like shy and nervous the first day to the last day. They're like having a great time and everyone's out of their shell. It was amazing.
Well, that actually reminds me of another question I wanted to ask you, and that's with the benefit of hindsight, after you became a staff member,
Mhm.
did it change how you viewed this trip? Like, did you have more of an appreciation for the staff on this one? Did you have more of an appreciation for like the programs and the work that it must have done, or were you able to like separate them in your mind?
I mean, I definitely have more of an appreciation for what the staff does, because you when you're a teenager, you're not really thinking about all the work that went into, like, they set up a whole stage, a whole sound system. We're videotaping things to put in a recap video, or like going out to the work sites to take pictures. Prepping breakfast was for hundreds of people was no joke. And you say it was hard to wake up at Catholic Heart. Well, the staff had to wake up even earlier to get breakfast out. So, I mean, we had early mornings, late nights. I would tell people it was the least sleep I ever got, but the most rewarding job I've ever had.
Well, actually, I don't know if I told you this, but on my most recent mission trip, the same one that this shirt is from, I was an associate staff member.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like do any of the planning or anything like that, but I did do the meal prep, cleaning tables, helping with getting the ice in the ice machine, lot of tacos. Think we were like preparing tacos for 4 hours with that stupid
Yes.
song playing. Got to get to know some of the staff
Yeah.
members, and I just remember thinking I absolutely loved it. And
Yeah.
like I think a lot of the teenagers like had more respect for me because of that. Because a couple of them would literally say like, "Hey Paul, what's coming up next in the program?" And I would be like, I can tell you what happened in previous years, but not this one." But
Yes.
there were actually two girls on my most recent one that had never been to Catholic Heart, and I said, "Hey, would you like me to tell you the general gist of what this is about so that you can be at least somewhat prepared?" And by the end of the camp, they came and sat next to me on their own, and they said, "Now it's a full circle moment, and we just really appreciate that you helped us to enjoy the camp." So I think something I'd like to add from the perspective of an associate staff member is you can make or break a teenager's experience by being there to support them. Because I think there's this notion that teenagers want to be around people their own age, but that's not always true. Like I remember, I went on a conference as a teenager, and I spent more time with the adults than I did with people my age, because
Hmm.
I just felt so out of place. And so I think like especially during Four Corners, they might like want to hear your wisdom from being on Earth longer. Was there anything you wanted to add to
Yeah.
that?
No, just I agree. And like, of course, teenagers do like to be around teenagers, but I think it's powerful. Like, I kind of touched on it earlier, where you see these staff members who are older than you, but they're not that much older than you. They're older than the teenagers. They have a little bit more wisdom, but they're still young enough to feel very relatable. And I think that's powerful for teenagers to have that influence of like a young adult who is like responsible and doing something to greater their faith, to have that positive role model.
So were there any closing thoughts that you wanted to say to the audience about, I don't know, just about anything?
I would just say, Paul, that I'm so impressed by you and how far you've come as a person. Number one, from when I knew you long many years ago till now, and then also just seeing how you grew in Catholic heart. And I think that that really impacted you as a person, like on your faith. Um, I'm so honored that I got to share that journey with you.
And I'm so glad that, like, I know you weren't, like, how do I word this? I don't think you were, like, directly involved in a lot of my transformation, but had it not been for you convincing me to go, that wouldn't have happened.
Hmm.
So maybe you could consider your nudge was what got everyone else to push, or
Hmm.
whatever the phrase is.
I was just part of your journey to get there.
You're one of those journey over the destination people, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Just like me.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why we call it a mission trip more than we call it
Hmm.
Catholic Heart Work Camp.
Right.
Well, thank you very much, Rachel, for being willing to be a guest. And if you have any, I forgot to ask this in the opening message, but if you have any pictures from Catholic Heart that you would like me to edit over all this, so that it's not just our faces, then feel free to send them to me via Facebook message.
Oh, I could, because I sent you a few, but I could find a few more for sure. But again, thank you for having me, Paul. This is great.
Yeah, for sure. And if you ever, and also if you could let Josh know that I would love to have him as a guest as well, because he and I went on this mission trip together, and he was the very first person that I told that I was miraculously healed.
Oh my gosh. I will tell him because I would love to hear his perspective on that.
Yeah, especially because he said that that was the first time he had ever been to Catholic Heart as just a regular
Yeah.
adult chaperone instead of a staff member.
Yeah, he never went as a camper, only as staff before then. So he would have an interesting perspective.
Yeah. No, Josh is a cool guy, and
Yeah.
I was I was apprehensive about him at first because I was like, "Dang, you're getting married so early." And then once I met him, I was like, "Oh yeah, it was perfect."
And you were like, okay, I see it.
But then again, once I became an associate staff member, I got at least a little bit of a glimpse of what you guys, like, how much time you would have spent together and how that
Yeah,
would have really accelerated the dating process.
absolutely.
Like, I
Yeah.
had to wake up at like 5:30 in the morning even as just an associate staff member, so I can only imagine the turmoil you guys must have gone through.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it was the littlest sleep I got, but the most rewarding. Yeah, we just formed really close bonds very quickly.
But hey, thank you for sharing as much as you did.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank you
Paul.
for being able to reach into the farthest reaches of your memory and be like,
Listen, I tried. I tried my best.
all right, well, you have a wonderful day. My audience, thank you so much for watching. I hope that Rachel's perspectives helped to transform these stories that you've heard way too many times from my perspective. And until the next time, remember to keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye.